Okay, so today I'm going to show you the very basics of using a Jupyter notebook. We've logged into our Python Anywhere account and we are at the dashboard. This is clicked here. We see tabs for consoles, files, web, schedule, and databases. Web, schedule, and databases are if you're developing online applications in Python, you will not need to use that at all. You just need to know two tabs, consoles and files. So to open one of the notebooks that I've placed in your account, you click on the Files tab, and then you should see a browser to a subdirectory named PLAM, which stands for Program Like a Martian. I have a lot of other folders here because of other projects. You don't need to worry about that. Click on that. You should have class numbers in here. We're going to go to Class 1. Click on Class 1. And we have a notebook called class01.ipynb, and the extension stands for IPython notebooks, and that's the old name for the Jupyter notebook, but they've kept the file extension. If I click on that, it should launch a Jupyter notebook. I'll give it a second here. If it will not launch a notebook, it's because your account doesn't have the proper privileges, and you need to talk to me about that. So here's the Class 01 notebook. All right, it's got a series of cells in here and pictures, directions, and text cells. The first thing I want you to do is to rename the notebook. So up here where it says Class 01, I want you to put your name in front of that Class 01. In this case, I'll put my name, if I can only type it right. Keep it all one nice name like that. The reason for this is when I collect the notebooks from all the students, I don't want a bunch of notebooks that all say Class 01 without knowing whose notebook is whose, so you have to add that in here. I'll say OK, and that will change the name of the notebook up here at the top. All right, in the notebook itself, there's a series of cells. I click on each cell to make it active. That's a large cell there. And they come in three basic flavors. Right? There are markdown cells that hold text that can be formatted, boldface, bulleted list, that kind of thing. There are cells that hold code, like this cell here. Notice when I clicked on the cell, it changed to code here. When I click on this one, it says markdown. And the third type of cell on the list here is a raw cell. A heading cell is just another kind of markdown cell, so there's really only three basic types. You only need to worry about the code and the markdown cells. All right, so I'll leave this cell as a code cell, and I leave this cell as a markdown cell. All right, now once you've clicked on a cell, if I double click on a markdown cell, I can see the actual markdown language, which a single pound sign here makes us a header, a double pound sign makes it a second level header, these little stars make it the bulleted lists. We'll talk more about that later. To execute the cell, I click anywhere in the cell, and then I hold down the Shift key and I press Enter. That executes the cell and moves you down to the next cell. So these cells have already been run. If I have a code cell, I have to type text into the code cell, whatever code I want. So here, for example, I'm asked to type print hello world. Hello world. And when I execute the cell by hitting Shift, holding the Shift key down, hitting Enter, it runs the cell, and there's the output of the cell, which is printing the words hello world, and moves me down to the next cell. Okay? If at any place I'd like to insert another cell, I just go to Cell to Insert here and insert the cell above or a cell below. If I click Cell Above, it inserts by default a code cell. If I want it to be a markdown cell, I can just come here and change its type to markdown. You notice the number went away. Or I can change it back to code. I can type another command here. Hello again. And if I hit Shift Enter, it executes that cell. All right? Any particular cell can also be moved up and down by just using these arrows here. Move up and down. All right? When I'm done doing all the things I want to do in the markdown or the code cells, I can say File and then Save and Checkpoint. And that will save the file with that name and create a checkpoint. The checkpoints are so you can go back to a previous version if at some point you've realized you made a change you didn't want to make. You can check your checkpoints and go back to different spots. All right? Now how do I get out of this whole thing? You notice there isn't any exit command. I just go back to the dashboard here, and the process is actually still running. So to kill the process, I have to go down here where it says running processes and fetch the process list. Now it's important to kill your processes because otherwise, you see here you have a limited number of CPU seconds each day. Right now I haven't used any, but it's going to reset in 22 hours. Every day you get a new set of seconds. The process continues to run even after you've logged out if you don't kill it, which means you'll keep using up your allowance of CPU cycles even though you're no longer logged into the system, which can be a good thing if you're trying to run an application on the web, but it's a bad thing if you're just trying to practice programming. So to kill the process, I click on Fetch Process List, and that will show me processes that are running and these little red kill buttons. I just keep clicking those little red kill buttons until everything dies, and sometimes you have to click some of the buttons more than once to finally get rid of everything. And finally it will say that there is nothing running. I hit the refresh button here just to make sure. Yep, there's nothing running. Now I can go ahead and log out. And that's it for my session. Thanks for watching.